Welcome back to Watts the Obsession. I'm Kelly, the creator of this channel. Thank you for watching this video. Please click like and subscribe. You're going to be hearing from Chris Watts, and the setting is his jailhouse interview that took place in February of 2019, a few months after Chris Watts was sentenced. Chris Watts had already begun serving his 5 life sentences, 3 consecutive and 2 concurrent, when 3 investigators, FBI's Graham Coder, CBI's Tammy Lee, and Frederick, Colorado's lead detective, Dave Baumhover, traveled from Colorado to Wisconsin to see if they could get more details out of Chris Watts about the horrific annihilation of his family, the murders of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and baby Nico Watts. Remember, at this point, at the time of this interview in February of 2019, Chris Watts initially had only made a false and partial confession, saying that he killed Shanann only after she killed her 2 daughters. Now, this incomplete and false confession is rather problematic considering Chris Watts pled and is sitting in prison right now. Even though he didn't make a solid or complete confession, and also law enforcement and District Attorney Rourke said on several occasions that the investigation into the murders stopped when Chris Watts confessed, which he never did. So District Attorney Rourke accepted Watts' plea when there was only an incomplete and false confession, and they also, by the way, stopped the investigation at the time he, quote, confessed. This really makes no sense. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not a Chris Watts fangirl, and I believe that Chris Watts is exactly where he should be right now. He should be serving time for the deaths of his wife, his 2 beautiful little girls, and his unborn son. Nevertheless, questions remain due to the sloppy investigation, and decisions were made like the ones that I just explained. It's likely that you know that today, in 2024, there are many people out there who believe that Nicole Kessinger should have been properly investigated, possibly interrogated, and many of those people believe that an investigation should reopen to check out Nicole Kessinger in order to finally determine once and for all if Nicole Kessinger had anything to do with this horrible crime before, during, or after the fact, and if she should, in fact, be charged and face her day in the court of law. In this video, you will be hearing from Chris Watts Jailhouse Confession tapes, and you will be hearing just the parts of his confession on that day when he finally confessed to law enforcement that he himself killed Shanann, Bella, and Celeste in the most horrible way. You're going to be listening to the parts where he talks about Nicole Kessinger, his relationship with Nicole Kessinger, his interactions with Nicole Kessinger, his feelings about Nicole Kessinger, and everything having to do with his mistress, formerly known as Nicole Kessinger, because as we know, she's changed her name to duck and hide from the public. Isn't it amazing that she has managed to go off the grid? I think it's important to know that around the time when this recording, this second confession from Chris Watts, was made on February of 2019, Shanann Watt's family very much believed that Nicole Kessinger needed to be further investigated. When they finally learned about what really happened at Survey 319, that Bella and Celeste took that terrible ride from 2825 Saratoga Trail to Survey 319, Sandy Ruchek at least said she changed her mind and very well may have decided that she wanted to pursue the death penalty. And really, who can blame her? Just around that time, Dr. Phil spoke to the Ruchek family and got their reflections on how they felt after learning this new confession from Chris Watts. And the interesting thing is, Dr. Phil was making a podcast at that time called The Devil Beside Me. And between episodes 3 and 4, something happened. Because in episode 3, Dr. Phil talked about how he was very suspicious of Nicole Kessinger. In fact, he felt that there was no way that she hadn't committed a crime. There was no way that she didn't know that Shanann was pregnant. There was no way that she did not know about what was going on with Chris at that time, and that Chris at least was involved in the murders of his wife and children. That in itself would be a crime, considering how she interacted with investigators when they finally spoke with her.
No, I would really not like to involve him in this. He does not know about this. He doesn't know any of this is a crime.
Jim, and I'm not saying you have to go to
Just leave Jim alone.
If at some point I needed Jim's info to, let's say we couldn't find your phone records, would you tell me who Jim was?
I will give them to you.
Would you tell me who Jim was if I couldn't get him?
If you had to.
Okay.
I don't really want to
Great.
involve him in this. That's not fair to him. That's not, no, if I do not have to do that.
That's fine.
Yeah? Let's do it. Do a little hair. Ready? Set?
Cece, what's
Cece,
Daddy
I am
doing?
so sorry.
Finally spoke with her. And then all of a sudden in the next episode, Dr. Phil never mentioned that again. Episode 3 was taken off of his playlists. It was taken off anything that played official Dr. Phil material. And I do believe that it is back on his roster now. But for almost a year, in my estimate, that episode 3 of The Devil Beside Me was gone. Let's hear just a tiny little bit of what he had to say in that episode, and then we'll go into the jailhouse tapes and confession.
Now, Chris and Nicole met at work, and sparks flew. They soon began an affair, but according to Nicole, she was not aware that this was an affair, or that she was the mistress, that she was the other woman. She says she thought she was dating a guy who was in the midst of a mostly amicable divorce. Once news of Shanann's disappearance spread, Nicole had gone to police of her own free will to speak to them about her involvement with Chris. But was she a hero in this story? Or is it possible, like Shannann's parents believe to this day, that she tried to help Chris, and when it all started coming unraveled, when it all started hitting the wall, she got scared and bailed? Was she actually helping him and got cold feet and decided, save yourself, girl?
And I don't want to see this come over my phone anymore. So I removed it.
So
Girl. She was never arrested or charged. However, is there more than meets the eye with Nicole? Sure, she had been helping police. It seemed like she was on their side and not her lovers. She had told them all about Chris and Shannann's many issues. She told them Chris had confided in her that he was no longer in love. She said he talked about living alone. She basically handed them his motive on a silver platter. But Nicole also told police she had no idea that Chris and Shanann were expecting a baby number 3. She says as far as she knew, their marriage was kaput. Now, there are thousands of armchair detectives who passionately followed this story who just were not satisfied with that explanation, and they never said it. But it appeared to people following the case closely that the police weren't exactly satisfied with that explanation either.
Right, so now getting to the jailhouse recordings from Dodge Correctional Facility in Wisconsin. So in this first part, law enforcement, specifically Graham Coder, asked Chris Watts directly about his relationship with Nicole Kessinger for the very first time. Chris Watts says that they met at work. It's kind of the story that we have heard all along, and then gives a number of additional details, allegedly and according to him.
Do you feel comfortable enough today to tell us if there were other people?
Yeah, it was just Nicole.
Okay, yes, and that was it. As these people have come out, for the most part, we've not given their stories much credit. They're just crazy people who want attention. And so, but when that does happen, it does make us think, there may have been others. So Nicole was the only one?
That was the only one.
Was there ever like a one night stand with someone else just out of the blue and one and done?
No.
Okay. All right. Want to talk a little bit more about Nicole?
Right.
So walk me through it, because that was one of the things we never really got to ask you about.
Right, we didn't talk.
Kind of skipped on and talked about where the girls were, but so what happened there?
So it was probably around June 1st or something. That's when I first met her. And it was just like a work conversation. She messed with the gas meters that, were out in the field. And I was messing up, and then, I took it to her like, hey, what's going on with this? Like, how do I fix it? And, after that, we just ran into each other a few times in the office, and I think it was probably the fourth time meeting. She had asked me, because like when we were talking back and forth, I would say, like we moved here from Colorado or from North Carolina and stuff like that. And then she was like, "What's all this weed stuff become?" Like, I took out my phone and showed her a picture, like, my girl's on the phone. It's like, "Oh, okay." Like, so, like, yeah, like, I didn't wear a ring at work because like I sent it off so I get refitted after I lost all that weight. So, but
You lost so much weight that your fingers lost weight?
yeah, it was literally like I was out in the snow one time. I went like that. Ring went off on the rocks. So I was panicking trying to find out that I can't wear this anymore. But so after that, she left me alone for a couple days, and she texted me outside the field. And then after that, we just kept texting back and forth, and it was just just like she used to work in a little rig out in North Dakota, I think, and we just kind of trading stories back and forth about what we did and everything. And then one day, it just kind of went to a different level, and then I never thought it would ever go to that level, but she was talking about meeting up after we got back from San Diego. Yeah, we were in San Diego from the 22nd to the 26th of June, and we met up after we got back, and
How did you guys meet up?
at a park in Thornton. Thornton somewhere. And after that, we just kept seeing each other pretty much the whole month of July.
So let me ask you this. You tell me if I'm wrong. You strike me as somewhat of a shy person. So when you guys were meeting, was it just kind of very initiatory, like flirting at first? Okay. From both sides?
Yeah, it was just kind of like feeling each other out. It was kind of like,
Yeah. And so texts, any calls?
more near the end of June,
Okay. And what makes you remember that it's June, that it happened?
because we called each other before I left to go to San Diego.
Oh, okay. All right. At first, did you think something might happen?
I just thought it was just flirting. I didn't think it was actually like something that would actually happen.
Yeah. Well, it's totally natural, right? I mean, everyone kind of flirts at work, right? Because the relationship between men and women is different. So if you're working with a girl at work, it's just kind of natural to flirt. I get it.
I wish I was out in the field more instead of in the office those demos, but
Yeah. I kind of see it in your eyes. That's kind of where the path started, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if I was like, because when I went from like a rover to a field coordinator, like I would spend more time in the morning time in the office trying to get everything like situated where we're going to go, everything like that. And, if I was a rover, I'd be more out in the field, and instead of like coming to the office like for more than an hour.
Right.
It just gave me more time to run into her, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. What did she know about you? Did she know you were married at first?
She did once I showed her the pictures on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, the home screen picture.
So was your wife in that picture, or was it just your phone?
It was just my girls right there, but my wife was the lock screen.
Oh.
So she knew I was married and my kids.
Okay.
Are you aware that she said she didn't know you were married?
Yeah,
What did you think about that?
I figured it was like just trying to save face, trying to I was just trying to. Something my sister said, it was like just trying to keep things together.
Yeah.
Just trying. She phrased it a different way, but just kind of like just like ground control, just trying to control everything that's going on around her. Cause I'm sure she got bombarded by all ton of different sides from the media and everything. So
Investigators asking if Chris Watts has talked to Nicole Kessinger at all sparked some sentimental emotions, it seems, within him. You can hear the emotion coming through in his voice. Just take a listen. And he talks about, his well wishes for her, that her life is better, that she still can have her dream job, that she's doing okay on the outside. What about your wife and your children? My gosh, this is so strange to me.
Did you talk to her at all? No.
I'm hoping she hasn't written me in a different alias or something. No, I'm not talking to her that way.
Oh.
And are you not allowed to talk to her?
I would hope not.
Okay. No one told you that then?
No, I mean I would expect I thought in Colorado it said on the DOC list that if you're on a victim list you can't call anybody.
Oh, right.
But here I'm not sure if that's the same. But I just talked to my sister, parents, some friends of my parents.
Do you wish you could talk to her?
Maybe once just to
get some closure?
Just to say hey, just once.
Yeah.
Say I'm sorry this all happened. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what happened afterwards, what you went through, if you had counseling, if you're different state, if you had to leave everything behind. I just wanted to let you know I'm sorry and that something I never saw happening or happening to somebody else.
Would you be alright if we told her that?
That's fine.
Do you want us to? Do you want us not to?
And if she would want to even talk to you guys, I'm not sure if she'll contact me. I'm sure she'd answer your phone call more than the attorney phone call that she didn't want to call. Answer. Yeah.
Oh, so your attorney tried to call her and she wouldn't answer?
Yeah, because I remember her phone number, but after that they figured out, I guess, where she lived. And they left a business card there. And she just, pretty much after the fifth attempt, she said stop. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not, there's mostly for her, not since she's on the outside, but I'm hoping it can get that way at some point. I'm not sure if she had to leave Colorado or not, but I'm surely that would have been hard if she did.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Darker was her dream job, so that's one thing I always asked my attorneys is did she have to leave? Did she have to do anything at work? Because that was one thing. So she always told me that was her dream job. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where does she mean?
In the oil company in Darko is unless you work for BP or a company Phillips or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And Darko's in
Looks like big leagues.
Yeah.
Right. Can I ask kind of a tough question?
Mm.
Did you love her?
I felt like it was true.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it was the same from her.
The beginning of this next section starts off with a part that you don't hear about because they were talking about Shanann, and Tammy Lee is asking Chris, what was going on. He said, I was afraid that she was going to know that I was with somebody else and she was going to kick me out of the house, or, she wouldn't let me see the kids. So then he talks about not wanting to make a big scene, trying to get back in the house. So then he just goes on to kind of compare Nicole Kessinger and Shanann Watts. Graham Coder asks him about their sex life, and Chris just says Nikki wanted it all the time. He also says that he was more comfortable around Nicole Kessinger because he didn't have to worry if he was going to say something stupid or mess up as though someone was judging him all the time. I think this is really interesting. We get a look at how Chris Watts really thinks about each of these women and maybe what was going on within his mind as he was deciding ultimately, which way he was going to go. And of course, we all understand with the way that things turned out, that was a choice that was never his to make.
I wouldn't want to make a scene trying out on the door, trying to get in or anything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I just felt that was what I did on Sunday. It was kind of or Saturday night was kind of the last straw. Kind of going out with somebody and actually having a account card and just not trying at all.
So walk me through it though, because she comes home, she touches you, you guys have sex, you fall asleep, then you wake up for work, all natural, all, a normal day's work type thing.
Yeah.
What was it that made you think, I just can't do this anymore, I have to talk to her?
it was eating away at me. Like I knew like something. I knew everything that I did. Like I know like when I was with Nikki, it was different. Like I wasn't even like in the realm of I'm a dad, I'm a husband type thing.
Oh.
And then like I was saying, when I'm never at home, like sleeping in my own bed, like I have no like concept of that anymore.
Interesting. So in your mind and heart, you could have moved on.
Like it kind of felt like if I wasn't at home, like I didn't think about it almost. Cause like if I wasn't sleeping on my own, but like I think there was at one point like Nikki had gone to the mountains with her friends for like a few days, like into June, first part of July, and then like that part obviously I was home, but like from that whole month of July on, it was like I was never at home. Like I never had all those reminders around me. I never had, like every time my wife called me, I would be at Nikki's house.
Oh, while she was in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would like walk outside and talk to her, like when I was next to the car or something like that. I would never be at home looking like have all these pictures around me and just being in the same bed, seeing my kid bed, seeing everything that we built for the last 6 years.
And so, did you just want to once and for all get it out in the open?
I just wanted to just tell her how I was feeling at that point in time. Like I didn't feel like me and her were compatible anymore. Honestly, I didn't feel like that because what was going on with Nikki, it was new. It was new.
Right. Absolutely.
Anything that's new always feels better than the old.
Yes.
You were probably bitten by the love bug.
Yeah,
That's how a lot of therapists.
Unfortunately, yeah, it was just like I never felt that. I mean, even like with new relationships in the past, like it always felt different. Like the first couple of weeks, and then but it just with someone Nikki felt different. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just like you said, like I was more in control, and like it was more of like maybe more of me coming out. Because Shanann always said like it always seemed I was more myself around other people, like her cousin Cody, like Cody lived or came up visited us for a little bit while we were in Colorado for a little while, and Cody always talked about like, oh, Chris is so funny. Chris is like, Shanann would always like, why are you never like that with me? It's like, well, maybe I always felt nervous around you.
Tantrums in the background. Chris is holding Cece at this moment. So we have, yeah, that was not cool. All right, Cece's happy as long as she has marshmallows. All right, so I have, Chris, you do your own.
Okay.
And we're going.
Yep.
Hey, everybody. Chris.
There's only so much oxygen in the room, right? I say this to some people with dominant personalities.
I just always felt nervous. I always felt like I was, never could actually just be myself.
Right.
Nikki, I was myself like all the time. It was just different.
Well, and it seems as though, and again, hard to talk about, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but it also seems, is it accurate to say that sexually you were able to say, Nikki, this is what I would like, this is what I'm into, or blah, 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 and maybe not with Shanann?
No, Nikki just wanted, she wanted what she wanted. She wanted to do it pretty much all the time. I was like, okay, that's fine with me.
Okay.
With Shanann, it was like, I'm like, hey. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it didn't. But that wasn't the case as far as that way. It was just like sex or whatnot. But
Okay.
it was mainly, I was just more myself. I could just not think about what I was going to say or plan what I was going to say or not, say something stupid or something. But,
Right.
A little bit of freedom.
Can I ask you something about that morning that you had sex with Shanann? Did you feel at all like maybe you were kind of cheating on Nikki by doing that?
I felt strange. I felt like, the first time I was with Nikki, I felt weird. First time,
Sure.
And then the last time I was with Shanann, I felt totally strange. I was just like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I had become. I felt like I'd become people I see on TV, and that did not feel right with me. Like I didn't know what had happened to me. So Nikki even asked me like, have you done this before? Have you go straight away? I'm like, I've never even thought about it. It's like, what's different? It's like, I guess it's just you that's different because I just never actually, like, I've seen girls smile at me before, never done anything about it, but her, it was just like like she had a leash on me and she tugged me away. As soon as she walked, I'm like, "The heck, hell is going on?" So,
Well, and Tammy brings up a very good point. I wonder if that last time with Shanann having sex had a somewhat of a role in you thinking,
like a trigger.
I got to do something. I got to say something. We got to have a talk. Something's got to change. Is
Yeah,
that accurate?
Yeah, I felt like it was like maybe like a trigger point or something like you hit the push button on a bomb and it just blows up.
Right.
Something in my head was just like something, just something was irking. Just like I had to say something.
Next, we hear one of the many times throughout the entire 4+ hour interview from Dodge Correctional Facility where Chris Watts uses language or speaks directly about a feeling of being out of control, overpowered, as though he wasn't in charge of his own faculties and movements. It's very strange. I think a number of things could explain this, and we have talked about them on this channel. We can talk about them again, and maybe we've talked about them not on this channel, and I'd love to hear what you think about that. He also talks about regret for not going to the football game with his friend and going to the Lazy Dog with Nicole Kessinger on Saturday, August 11th instead.
Like at the end of the conversation, it was just like, that's what happened. I just wish I could have let go.
Did it seem like it was that long? 2 to 4 minutes? How long did it seem for you?
It almost kind of felt like it was longer almost because it felt like time was standing still. It's kind of like I just saw my life just disappearing before my eyes, but I just like I couldn't let go. It was like somebody else, like if you picture somebody else around you, holding your hands, holding you, keep you from not letting go.
At some point there was a statement about rage. Do you feel like you're in a rage at that point?
That's the only way I can describe it, honestly. Like a snap, something. I know. I guess my attorney had said like some, strangulation is more of like a, I don't know, passionate type thing. I'm just like, I don't know how that can be passionate.
It's just intimate, because you're right. And now
Yeah.
using your own hands, it's a lot different than someone standing across the room and you shooting them or something like that. So.
It just felt like somebody was like behind me, just like, I just couldn't let go.
It's interesting to me because there was a lot of things in your life that were like that, right? Where you're just like, maybe felt out of control or maybe felt like, I don't know why I couldn't take a step back or, like even when you said, when your buddy was like, let's go to the football game, you wanted to say yes, you could.
Yeah, I wanted to. Like, I've never been to a football game since North Carolina, so I was just like, yeah, sure. Like, I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
I wanted to just text them, hey, no, it fell through, can't go. Did you watch the one of when I found out about Cece?
Oh.
No, okay.
Is it totally different?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Because Bella was in the crib and it had an eviction notice on the.
Oh, yeah, I think you told me about it. Yeah, I never saw it though.
Yeah. I picked up Bella and spun her around and whatnot. This time it was just me and Shanann, and she was in the kitchen. I don't know, I don't forget what date it was. Maybe like June 3rd or 5th or 7th. I'm not sure what date it was, the video, but maybe I already felt guilty about talking to Nikki at work.
Yeah.
Maybe that was going through my head.
Is that the potential timing? Does that make sense? Okay.
I don't remember the video, what day the video was, but I knew I kind of met Nikki around June 1st. I knew she told me afterwards.
When you say met her, you mean went on a date with her?
No, I never went on a date with her until she was in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Just flirting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was natural flirting back and forth, and that was just I knew that with that video timing, I probably just looked like I was felt guilty for even talking to go at work.
Well, you probably did, right?
Yeah.
We just need to make a note about that video timing and the timing of Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger's relationships and the timing of their first trackable communications between one another because Chris Watts is clearly lying here. So it was on June 11th, 2018, when Shanann surprised Chris when he came home with wearing the t-shirt saying, "Oops, we did it again." And the reaction, as you saw right there. She also told her 2 girls about her pregnancy. So on June 11th, she made a post on Facebook saying that she told everybody that she was pregnant, and Bella's reaction was the sweetest, and she had a picture of Chris and Bella and Celeste with her t-shirt, "Oops, we did it again." The date of that post is June 11th, 2018. We know that the first email between Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger is the following morning, June 12th, 2018. And Nicole, in that email, thanks Chris for being honest with her. Honesty is very refreshing quality. And then from there, they have a few email exchanges, all on that very same day. Coincidental timing? What do you think? Leave a comment down below. Next, Watts has asked about the Duo burn patches or the Thrive products that he was taking in general. And he talks about feeling so different on the Duo burn patches. And I've got to tell you that is researching part of this case a while back, I did the whole Thrive program, and I did use the Duo burn patches for only about a week because they made me sweat. They made my heart rate increase. I felt like I was losing weight, and I wasn't trying to lose weight at the time. I was trying to just, be healthy, and I didn't want to lose weight. So I stopped using them. They were pretty powerful in that regard. And I'm just wondering with the responses that he's giving here and the ones that he gave before about Thrive, why people didn't take more notice to some of the curious ways that he's answering these questions, because these could indicate conditions aside from, being a consequence or a byproduct or a result of using the Thrive. Again, I want to know what you guys think about this.
Yeah.
Did you feel like a different person wearing those patches?
Especially like the Duo, the burn. It felt, like the Apple Watches. Like if you look on it, like when it tells you your exercise, it says I was exercising like all day. Because my heart rate was like up.
Oh.
Just from those patches.
Was it full of caffeine or what?
They just have something. They had something in them. I had the black label ones, the longer black ones. Those had caffeine in them, but it never had that effect. The Duo burn ones, the ones that are more of like the fat loss type. It felt like I was working out all day, even though I wasn't.
Oh, were you tired?
I know at some points even Nikki said that I'd fall asleep on the couch.
Oh.
On her couch while I was talking to her, and then pick back up like I never knew I fell asleep. Which I don't know if it was like some insomnia thing or what, but I wasn't sleeping.
You had a lot going on then.
Yeah, but those are the only patches I really felt like a real big difference on, just because it felt like I was working out all day.
Mm-hmm. You don't feel like they changed your personality or anything like that, though? Or do you?
I don't really know. I know that I just felt different on those than any other patch. It was felt like I could just go longer and longer each day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if that was probably a bad thing. I don't think I was probably sleeping more than 3 hours a night.
So would you stay when Shanann was gone? Would you stay with Nikki and then go home for to get ready? What?
Yeah, I just wake up at 4:30, and go home and get ready for work and leave. And I just work out when I got back home.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Graham Coder asked Chris Watts about the idea that he and Nikki were looking for an apartment for him throughout a lot of their relationship. And the answer that Chris Watts gives here is very curious. And when you go back and look at what Nicole Kessinger said, oh boy, and you better believe I have a video coming out about that.
What were the conversations with Nikki as far as at some point you guys were talking about her helping you find an apartment? So what did you guys talk about as far as your future together?
That didn't really happen until we got back from the beach. So I told her I lied to her hey, I don't I had talked to Shanann about getting a separation.
And that talk hadn't happened yet.
No, I mean, it kind of like, not, I mean, she knew something was going on. I think she knew we weren't sleeping in the same room, and then she, you know, she even mentioned the fact like, hey, Colorado's 50-50 state or something like that. And okay, I guess she looked it up. But that actual talk hadn't like actually happened. I was just like, I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah. And so in conversations with Nikki, I get it. I mean, if you're telling her like the progress toward the divorce is a little bit more than it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then so what were you guys planning?
So it was more of like she's going to help me find a apartment that was affordable. This is kind of just around like Brighton or maybe just close to work, like for Lupton or something around there. That's kind of like where my area was.
Did you talk about moving in with her?
She didn't want that.
She didn't want that. Would you have done that if she would have been cool with that?
That been a little too soon. I would have thought. There's just we'd only been really seeing each other like almost like a month, or they just talking about 2 months. So I would really. She called her house like her apartment like her. I don't know, like her kind of like a shield, or kind of like her. She had another word for it, but
Like her safe place?
yeah, like a safe place or something like that. And she would like, people like to invade it, but that's why she always let me come over, because she said she felt like that was fine, like her dog liked me and everything. Like she would say, hey, just ship people along here type thing. Like, oh, okay.
And finally, Chris Watts is asked about talking to Nicole Kessinger after the tragedy happened. And the information that we learn here is absolutely intriguing. I had to listen really carefully, and I picked up some really interesting things I had not heard before. And everything I touched on in this video, I will be making some follow-up content to it in the next few weeks, so please be looking out for that. After you watch this next segment, leave a comment below and let us know what you think. We all want to know what you think. And thank you for watching.
Computer room, you would hope that it had some.
Did you talk to Nikki afterwards? After all this happened?
On the 13th and the 14th.
What was that conversation like?
It was the 13th, kind of like, it was more text, and then maybe a phone call, like a phone call. And then she thought maybe Shanann like took off with the kids, like just, because I was telling her I didn't know where they were and all that. And then the 14th, she kind of like, I think she kind of thought something may have happened because they hadn't come back.
Why do you say that she might have thought that?
Her, she kept asking me like some weird questions. Like she kept asking like questions that only I would know, but she was testing to see if like it was actually me on the phone. Like,
what do you mean?
Like she would ask like, like what's my dog's name, or like what do I like, what yoga studio do I go to, or something like that. She was like, like I'm just answer like I'm, and then like another thing about, I'm not sure if this is you. And it's like, okay.
Is this through text or is this through calls? Yes. Oh, okay. So she wasn't hearing your voice. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it possible she thought you'd been arrested and we were on the phone?
More, either Shanann had my phone or somebody else had my phone, or like maybe, maybe she thought it was the.
Well, hopefully Shanann would know all the answers to those questions, right?
No. This is Nikki asking me.
Yeah, but if she's asking you your name of your dog and what yoga studio, and
yeah,
wouldn't.
Well, maybe she thought, maybe I was with Shanann. That she was just trying to find out who she was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like some of the conversation, like on the 14th, got a little weird. I think that's when she met with CBI or something, or FBI. I'm not sure who she met with first.
So she talked to you after she met with?
No.
Oh,
was like she had told me like, this is the last time you'll probably hear from me. I'm going to stay at my friend Jim's place. All this is all going on. She said not to contact her until this is done. She told me to delete everything, and I didn't delete everything. Okay. I'm not sure why I didn't delete everything, but probably helped you guys out a little bit. But
she told you to delete everything?
Delete all conversations.
Did she tell you why?
That delete it. I don't think you can ever delete a text message.
We're pretty good at getting deleted text messages.
Did when your dad came in, one of the first things you guys talked about, he said, kind of quietly, I cheated on her, I cheated on Shanann or something. Your dad didn't know until that time?
No, they had, when I was in North Carolina on August 6th, when I spent most of the day with my parents and my sister and everybody, they had, I had told them like something like, this, I don't think this is going to work. Like, with what happened with the nuts and everything, and they're not being able to see the kids, they're like, this is the first time they had talked to me, and pretty much.
Because you went 3 weeks or something, right?
Yeah, because Shanann told me to call him while I was at the beach just to smooth everything out, because she was like, all right, whatever's going on in your head, you need to fix this. But she didn't want the kids to see him. She didn't want to see him. And then, like, when I did see him when I was sick, it was after I went and saw my grandmother. She's in a nursing home. And she still wouldn't let me go see my parents or anybody with the kids. So I just told her to leave me there, and my dad come pick me up, and spent the whole day there. They were they said they want to see the kid. They just don't know if they could ever just forgive Shanann for everything that happened that day. I guess I'm not sure like everything that was said that day when they had that argument, but apparently it was like a knockdown, drag out, like bomb that went on there.
Pretty hurtful thing.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. And they just don't know like if they could ever forgive her or not. And I just I never told them about cheating on her. Like they even asked me if there was somebody else.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
So they could kind of sense maybe something's going on.
Yeah, because I think he was texting me the entire time I was over there. It's like they could kind of see like I was texting somebody, but it was like maybe they kind of knew. Like even like when I was in San Diego talking to my friend Mark, I told him about Nikki, but I didn't tell him like I was gonna meet up with her.
Okay.
I told him that I was trying to I should have just told him right then. Maybe that would have helped. I know maybe he had an instance where there was some girl coming after him, and she was engaged, and he ended up getting with her, and then they were together, and then she cheated on him.
Is this before he was married or during?
It's after. Okay. Like he could have helped me, but I just I never told him the whole thing. That it was a lot further along than I wanted it to be.
That's interesting to think about, right? Which dad could give him some good advice.
Yeah, everybody. Now this is my friend Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. When I was in San Diego.
Oh, I gotcha.
So you think you told Mark about that, hoping that he maybe question you about it, or?
Well, I was because Mark, my best friend. I grew up with him since I was like 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
So he had been married before, and it didn't work out because they were stationed together or something over in Korea, and I should have just kind of came out with the whole story, I just told him there was this girl at work that I've been talking to, but I'm just distancing myself from her.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. I was just letting it exponentially get worse. Right. If I had told him hey,
Yeah.
he would have been whoa, man, all right, take a step back and look. Yeah. Right. And don't fall into that trap. Being you're going to be alone for 5 weeks. And there's times I wish, maybe Shanann didn't have to go away for 5 weeks. Maybe we all just went for 1 week.
Yeah.
Nothing would ever happen.
Yeah.
It's only, 5 weeks alone, that's the only reason really that was almost even allowed to happen.
There are quite a few people who would tell us and who do tell us you need to look into Nikki more, Nicole Kessinger. All the way from the extreme end of things being Nikki's the one who ordered the hit.
She was there, hiding in the basement.
She was there.
Yeah.
So the extreme is she's the one who told Chris to do it. She's the real problem. All the way, that's the extreme side, and then all the way to, there were these texts where she was infatuated, she was in love, she was saying how good Chris was in the sack, and maybe we should look at her more. What would you say to those people?
She had her moments where I had to talk her off a ledge kind of deal.
What does that mean?
It's I guess after the fact, there was videos of her that she was recording herself because she was bipolar or something. I never knew that. But it's and she would get worked up about nothing. She would just she came to my house once because I think it was like July 4th. I didn't have to work that day, so I didn't like get up at like 4 o'clock and go home. And Shanann called me like, and I didn't hear it because I was sleeping. I was just like, and she was pissed. Shanann was pissed. And like I called her outside, like, where are you at? Like what? Like I was like, I didn't have to work today. It's like called me at like 5:30. It's like kids want to talk to you at 7:30. I'm like I was sleeping. She's like, she just like screw you, like like I don't know where you're at. And I went back inside. Something like I gotta go. And she was just like, okay, then you come back. I'm like, probably not.
So wait a minute, you kind of lost me there. Were you at Nikki's place
Yeah.
when Shanann called you?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you were sleeping in her bed.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to work that day because I didn't have to that day. First holiday I ever had off, and Shanann was pissed, and kind of pissed Nikki off too that I left. But I think that's when I called Nikki later, and she was like, she kind of realized that she'd always be like the second. She said second fiddle.
Sure.
And because that's how I probably would come like that day. Just I don't want to be anywhere else when Shanann calls. She was already pissed. So it was stuff like that where she would she would go. She said she would go on like websites and look at like, will a relationship work with somebody? Like, will a mistress work? Will a mistress turn into a relationship?
That's what Nikki was looking at?
Yeah.
She would tell you that, or you
told
heard
me
that?
that.
Okay.
Yeah, she said that she would go on websites and look at stuff like that. I was like, why do you even look at stuff like that? She's like, I just want to see what other people have experienced.
But like, so that confuses me though, because I thought earlier you were saying she thought you were heading toward a divorce. So why was she looking at herself as a mistress?
This was later on.
Oh.
Like, in August, like
Okay.
first week of August, when I told her like, I had had that talk with her about separation.
Uh-huh.
That's when like she started looking at like apartments and stuff. But like during our July relationship type thing there,
Oh, I see.
that's when she was looking up like, it will actually work. She told her friend Brittany about it, I guess, and Brittany told her not to do it, but she said she already made a decision.
Okay. And so, are those people absolutely wrong about Nikki? She wasn't asking you to get rid of your family?
No.
Are you sure? Okay. And no part of any of this was because she put it in your head or asked you to, or
You never. I mean, this whole relationship contributed to it.
Sure.
But she didn't want me to.
I mean, was it ever like, I wish you didn't have kids. I want to have, kids of my own with you. Like,
She never knew if she wanted to have kids, but she said that, at one point she said, I'd like to give you a son.
did she know that Shanann was pregnant with a boy?
No.
Did she know Shanann was pregnant?
No.
And why is that? You just didn't tell her?
I didn't know. Like, because we had met.
But Shanann put that on Facebook.
That's
Like, how did she not see that?
I don't know. Maybe she did, and she just wait for me to tell her, or she put it out of her head.
Can I ask you a question? A lot of people think you named Nico after Nikki. So what was that?
Nico was actually named as Shanann Mike.
Okay. Shanann thought of that one?
Yeah, I wanted to spell it like N-E-K-O. I thought it was like Nico that way.
Mm-hmm.
But she said N-I-C-O. I thought it would sound like Nico or something.
Okay.
Because Nico is more of like an Italian name.
Italian, yeah.
So, and like she did leave for, my middle name, my dad, and all that. But like Nico is like, that's the name that she always liked.
Okay.
Did she name all the kids? She named Bella and Celeste?
Yeah, Bella, because Italian means beautiful. Marie, mom's middle name. Celeste is her grandmother's name. Catherine's Shannon's middle name.
Did you have any input in their names?
I just liked them. I was like, if we had a third child, I was gonna, maybe we could have like Lee in the middle name, but I knew like the girls' names. I love those names, so it's like that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like with the we have little nicknames for them, like Belle and Belladine and Cece, obviously. So that's good, but yeah, Nico was. Yeah.
Can we go back to the house on the 13th? So One point, right when you got back there, Coonrod was there, Officer Coonrod, and Nicole was there. And then you went in the house in there for about a minute or so before you let everybody in. Remember what you were doing in there at that time?
I went into the garage,
Right.
and then I ran around and I opened the front door.
Yeah.
Opened the front door did everybody come in through the garage or the front door?
Everybody came through the front door.
Yeah, so I came in, I went in through there, and I came in, opened the front door, and I ran upstairs. And I just was like I was looking around.
Okay. That's after everybody? Did you go around the house at all before you opened the front door? No,
I didn't run around the house. I stayed down on the bottom,
Okay.
the bottom floor, and then
Yeah.
when I opened the door,
Yeah. Okay. Just curious.
and I ran upstairs and everybody else. And that's when Nicole's son was on the phone, and I was going from snack. Like I was walking through the house.
Yeah.
Shanann had her bra on. Was that normal that she would sleep in her bra?
Every once in a while. I mean, she just got home from the planes. She didn't even take off her makeup or anything. Maybe she was just that tired. But normally, I don't know.
Did it not come off when you guys had sex?
I don't think so. Sometimes she just, she keeps her shirt on and she doesn't want me to do anything. It's like she wants what she wants. She knew what she wanted. That's what she wanted.
Was it just missionary sex?
Yep.
And her final resting place, was that just naturally what she was wearing? You didn't change her or anything like that? Okay.
Did you have to see